Capitalism has always needed one thing to survive: workers, the labor, the sweat, the skill. But what happens when it doesn't? When machines, algorithms, and capital itself replace the very people it once depended on? This isn't science fiction. This is our geopolitical present. And it is about to define the next century. The question isn't just about jobs, it is about power, it is about survival, and it is about who owns the future. Today, I am not here to debate minimum wage or labor unions. I am here to give you the framework, the actual geopolitical architecture of what capitalism becomes when it no longer requires you, me, or anyone else to keep the gears moving. Leaders, if you are watching, yes, you, this isn't just a YouTube episode. This is your briefing document. The future of your nation depends on whether you understand this pivot. Capitalism historically has been a triangle: capital, labor, production. Workers were the irreplaceable middle of that chain. They produced value, and in return, they got wages, which fueled consumption, which fed the machine. But automation, robotics, and AI, from Boston Dynamics autonomous factories to GPT driven financial trading floors, are cutting labor out of the loop. The core shift: capital now produces capital. Machines don't need wages, they don't unionize, they don't sleep. This isn't about robots taking jobs. This is about capitalism reaching escape velocity, detaching from humanity itself. And when that happens, the system no longer needs us to survive. It becomes self referential. Capital consuming capital, value feeding on value. If you are running a country, this is the part you should be sweating. Unemployment becomes permanent. That is structural unemployment, not cyclical. Whole industries vanish, never to return. Countries dependent on cheap labor as a competitive advantage. Bangladesh, Vietnam, part of Africa gets leapfrogged by autonomous supply chains. China's nightmare scenario: its labor driven model of dominance becomes obsolete overnight. The collapse of the social contract. For 200 years, government promised work hard and you will have a place in society. Without work, that promise disintegrates. Citizens turn from workers to dependent. Dependency breeds resentment. Resentment breeds instability. New energy of power, data and capital concentration. Those who control AI, robotics, and automation platforms essentially control the means of production permanently. Instead of nations competing on GDP and workforce size, it becomes a war over AI dominance, rare earth minerals, and data flows. The Cold War was nuclear. The next war is algorithmic. And the battlefield is who owns the autonomous infrastructure of the world. Now, here is where you position yourself not just as a critic, but as the architect of a new framework. Sovereign capital funds as infrastructure. Nations must treat capital itself as infrastructure, not just currency. Build sovereign funds that invest in automation platforms and AI, ensuring the wealth doesn't concentrate solely in Silicon Valley or Shenzhen. Universal capital dividend. Forget universal basic income. That is welfare in disguise. Nations should establish capital dividends. Citizens owning shares in national automation platforms, giving them equity, not charity. Shift the mindset. Citizens as shareholders of the state, not beggars at its door. Defense of relevance. Nations who fail to integrate automation into defense, logistics, and energy will be subordinated to those who do, just as oil defined the 20th century power. Autonomous infrastructure defines the 21st. If you want the unfiltered answer, when capitalism doesn't need workers anymore, it doesn't need you. The machine will keep running. Capitalism doesn't care about morality, fairness, or survival. It only cares about efficiency. The only way to remain relevant in its system is to own, control, or govern the infrastructure of automation itself. Everything else is noise. Fellow leaders, billionaires, investors, you can ignore this and hope it passes, or you can face it head on. The real war is not East versus West, rich versus poor, or left versus right. The real war is between those who own the autonomous future and those who are owned by it. And if you are still thinking in terms of jobs, wages, or labor, you are already obsolete. This is not the death of capitalism. This is its final evolution. The only question is, will you adapt or will you be replaced?